Jacob Mantle here, Member of Parliament for York Durham. Mark Carney has been Prime Minister for nearly a year now, and during the election he made some serious promises to Canadians. It's time to take stock of those promises and ask the question, does his rhetoric match our reality? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We still have no resolution to our disputes with the United States. Listen, President Trump has denigrated our country and our proud history. That's wrong. Our sovereignty is certainly no joke. But we can't let the president ruin our relationship with the United States. The Prime Minister won the last election in no small part because he promised to handle Donald Trump, negotiate a win for Canada, and get us an even better deal than we had before.
So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win. We have the best deal with the Americans, and the third thing that's true is we will get an even better deal because
Those are the Prime Minister's words, his rhetoric, and he must be accountable for it. Now, we always knew this would be difficult, but we expect the Prime Minister to take this seriously. But when he was pressed about the failure of his government to get any progress with the United States, here's what he said.
Who cares?
Well, Prime Minister, I care, and I think Canadians care too. It's also baffling to me that the Prime Minister would jet to Davos and give a speech that pokes the President squarely and firmly in the eye. That was a choice, and I think the Prime Minister knew exactly what he was doing. So we have to ask ourselves, does his rhetoric match our reality?
Canadians will hold account by their experience at the grocery store.
The Prime Minister asked Canadians to judge him by prices at the grocery store. So let's do that. The most recent Statistics Canada report shows that food inflation in Canada is running at 6.2% year over year, the highest in the G7. In fact, the rate of food inflation has doubled since Mr. Carney became Prime Minister. Canada has become known as the food inflation capital of the developed world. Beef is up 16%, chicken up 6%, infant formula up 6%. These aren't luxuries. These are everyday necessities for Canadians. All told, Canadians are now paying $1,000 more for food this year than they were a year ago. We offered the Prime Minister several solutions. Remove taxes on fertilizer and farm equipment to bring down the cost for farmers. Eliminate the hidden fuel standards tax to bring down the cost of transporting that food to the grocery store. But the Prime Minister has refused each of our positive solutions. So we have to ask ourselves, does his rhetoric match our reality?
we will need to think big and act bigger. We will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations.
That's a great slogan, and undoubtedly, Canada must get back to building national projects. But rather than moving to fast-track pipelines, ports, and mines immediately, the Prime Minister set up another government office, the so-called Major Projects Office. But nearly a year later, not one single project has received its final approvals. Sure, some projects have been referred to the office, referred for further consideration, for further debate, for further review by government bureaucrats. And in fact, most of what was referred has already been in the works for years. Now, Canada has wealth and potential that is the envy of the world. We could be an energy and natural resource superpower. We offered the Prime Minister concrete solutions to make that a reality. Repeal the laws that ban shipping oil, and repeal the laws that put a cap on emissions so that Canada can export its energy to the world. But the Prime Minister has refused. Well, markets aren't waiting. Investment is fleeing Canada. Foreign investors are pulling their money out of our country, while new investors are choosing greener and more predictable pastures. Canada is increasingly finding itself on the losing end of global capital flows. So we have to ask ourselves, does the Prime Minister's rhetoric match our reality?
We will build new homes for Canadians at a pace not seen since the Second World War.
Housing in Canada is simply unaffordable. Today, the average salary no longer buys the average home. The Prime Minister promised during the election to build 500,000 new homes every year. That is the minimum amount the Prime Minister said was needed to get Canada back on track to housing affordability. So how are we doing there? Well, the Parliamentary Budget Officer reviewed that promise, and he concluded that the government's current plan will actually only build 5,200 homes each year. That's right. The promise, the Prime Minister's rhetoric, was for 500,000 homes a year. The reality is 5,200 homes per year. Home ownership has fallen across all age groups, and young Canadians are particularly hard hit. While the vast majority of young Canadians want to own a home, only about half think they will ever realize that goal now. The disconnect between what the Prime Minister promises, between his rhetoric, and the reality that Canadians face has consequences. The ambition to own a home has turned into uncertainty, and that uncertainty is quickly turning into defeat for an entire generation of Canadians. Politicians make promises.
You can handle them. We can handle them. We are going to handle them. We are going to handle them.
And we should all expect that they do their utmost to keep those promises. The mark of an effective government is when it not only makes a promise, but it keeps it. In other words, does the rhetoric match the reality? You decide.